Well, broadband is important first and foremost because it is an opportunity to address problems we've had for a long time. People tend to focus on the ability of new technologies to solve new problems. Broadband is more than a quantitative difference in terms of connectivity. It's a qualitative leap. We have the opportunity to address issues like illiteracy on a global scale, participation in value creation, innovation in a totally different way. It is fair to say that the case still needs to be made. And this is where the Broadband Commission has an important role to play. It's not just about awareness, it's about also making a business case, making an economic case, making a social case about what broadband can achieve. There are two ways basically of looking at it. One is to say, for once, we have the opportunity to be part of a global revolution, something that can be shared by all countries, whatever the levels of income, whatever the structures, whatever the political systems even, and that opportunity needs to be addressed. The other one is to say, well, we have this big thing which creates new capacity, and we have all these new services that can generate value. And there is danger in that second possibility, which is to focus, for instance, on what consumes high quantities of bandwidth, to focus on images, on videos, etc. And letting people say, oh, but if you're about entertainment, it's not really what I need if I'm a developing country. I often refer to my own personal experience at the World Bank when I was the manager of the Information for Development program. I used to go and meet ministers and make a case for ICT as a main area for development. And most of the time they would stop me in the middle of a sentence and say, this is great, I've understood everything, I really want to do it. Now just tell me, how am I going to get the money to do it? Should I take it away from building hospitals, from building schools, from building roads, from fighting HIV/AIDS? Just tell me from which part of the budget I should take the 1 million I need to invest in ICT, and I will do it. And clearly, if you remain in a plus and minus logic, nothing happens. What you have to do is move to a multiplier effect. To say, okay, if Mr. Minister or Madam Minister, you have $100 to invest in health, I can demonstrate to you on the basis of existing facts and experiences that if you invest 90 of those $100 in beds and nurses and equipment in hospitals and 10 in ICT for health, your 90 will be worth 120 or 130. This is the multiplier effect. It requires a change of mindset. The possibilities that are offered by broadband allow to challenge some established mindsets and to create new ones. So that's one of the major opportunities of the Broadband Commission. Having worked for more than 30 years now in trying to promote ICT worldwide as a tool for socio-economic development, I've come to a very simple conclusion, which is you cannot improve what you don't measure. If you don't have a measure of improvement, not only you will not be able to see whether you're making any progress, but you will not be able to reward the people who are taking the initiatives, the risks to do it. So it's as much a measure of, am I going in the right direction at the right pace, as a measure of who is doing what and who should be incentivized to do even more. And the kind of indices we are looking at, the measurements or the metrics, include both the targets. We need to have targets, and the ITU today made a very convincing presentation of what these targets could be in terms of penetration, in terms of usage, in terms of cost and accessibility. I think we also need another set of indicators in addition, which will be much softer. They will have to do with content, with freedom of access, with the political and regulatory environment around the development of broadband in various contexts. So there's clearly, I think, a high degree of awareness among the commissioners about the usefulness of that kind of an approach. We're not trying to provide just a map of where the world is in terms of broadband, but also tools for action. And if we want to have tools for action, they need to be readable by policymakers, by international experts, by the private sector, by investors, and even more, I would say, by the younger generation. The younger generation will not be excited about reading reports. They will want not only data, they will want to see visual data. They want to see colors and bubbles and scales and moves and changes, and they will want to be able to contribute to that. So we need to put that as a Web 2.0, social networks, crowdsourcing type of exercises. So it's a very exciting challenge we have ahead of us to try and put together a very complex reality into simple indicators and make those participative, to include the points of views of people who are on the ground, can say, this is your view from afar, I can tell you from the ground, this is how I see the reality, and put that dot on that map.